Hello guys, Tops here. Today I have something special for you. It's my tier list of craftable stuff in Battle Brothers. I've heard you guys like tier lists, so I've made another one. Let's get right into it. I have, damn it, I've already done the armor attachment in a different tier list. So if you wanna watch that, go check it out. We are just starting with the shields. And in Battle Brothers, if you fight beasts, you get beast trophies. And with beast trophies, you can craft stuff at the Taxidermist in towns. And the stuff that you can craft is all of that. We're gonna take the Kraken Shield first. So the Kraken Shield. I have 3 tiers, by the way. Stuff you want, stuff that is easy to get, and stuff that is hard to get or not worth it. And I say the Kraken Shield is really hard to get because you have to fight the Kraken. It's a good shield, has low durability though, but really high defense for reasonable fatigue cost. Also, you can only make 2 of these because you only get 2 horn plates, but it's kind of nice. Maybe you want to use the horn plate instead for an armor attachment. So making the shield is it's really hard to do. But also, is it worth it? You have to decide for yourself. Cost you 1,000 golds, by the way. I don't know. I would put it in hard to get and kind of not worth it, depending on what kind of shields you have. If you're fighting the Kraken, most of the time you have already famed shields for your shield guys, so you really want that? I don't know. Question it. Next one, Lindworm Shield. Has the highest durability with additional range defense and melee defense. Gets crafted by Lindworm Scales and Lindworm Bombs. Problem, you have to fight Lindworms. And is not that much defense more than a Sipar. Is it called Sipar? The round shield from the Nomads. The Nomads, I think it gives you plus 18 defense. So it's a little bit lighter though, so this is one of the things is hard to get because you have to fight lindworms, which are hard to fight and kind of rare too. So you don't want to fight them really. And the shield is not the best shield you can get. So not really worth getting in my opinion. But I mean, if you have the stuff, you can craft it. Then we have the Living Tree Shield. The Living Tree Shield restores, I think, 20 hit points every turn. Problem is it has low durability. So but it is light and has high defenses. That's nice. The problem is you have to fight shards for that. Shards are really rare enemies, and the shield is hard to get and kind of not worth it. Like, you probably rather use something else. It renews itself, but it has low durability, so if you find somebody, like the guys who crack shields, gonna crack the shield. That's the problem. And so, kind of doesn't work against the stuff you wanted to work against, basically. All right, next one, Alp Trophy. Alp Trophy necklace. You need all the stuff that you can get from the Alps, and the problem is you don't drop everything from the Alps every time. So you have to fight probably multiple Alps, maybe larger groups. So I would say it's fairly hard to get because Alps, again, rare enemies, not really worth fighting, and time consuming to fight because if you do a contract, you have to wait until night, and maybe if you fight them, you can only fight them during night. So, if they don't run across you, which like can never happen in a run, so it's nice. 5 resolve is nice to have, but it's really, I think it's a rare opponent that is hard to get. Same with the Hexen Trophy. You need all 3 components from the Hexens. And Hexens are also fairly rare and also tough fights. Hexen is a very dangerous fight if you don't have a specific company that can deal with them, if you don't have like a high resolve bro that can bait and an archer who can snipe the hex or something. If you don't have a plan, like if they take over one of your brothers and just, that brother starts chopping up your company, It's really easy to lose somebody in these fights. So it's not worth getting, in my opinion. But is if you have it, can be nice. The problem why this is not so great is because this is so easy. This is probably, it's really easy to get. It's not really the stuff that you want. I mean, that's the point. This is basically for free. Alps, no, not Alps. I'm sorry. Nachzehrers are very easy opponents that are there from the beginning of the game. You're going to fight them really early on, and not a tough fight. One of the easiest beast fights, I would say. And you just have loads of these really early on. It's not expensive to craft, so you're gonna have a decent amount of these early on. It's basically +4 free resolve on somebody. So easy to craft, really like that. Okay, next one. Large quiver of arrows is actually something that you want if you have an archer. Archers, they shoot 2 arrows per turn, so they can go through arrows quickly. And in bigger battles, that's like most battles last more than 5 turns or around that. So your archer has to swap ammunition sometimes. And having just extra 2 turns of ammunition before he has to swap is extra action points. So that's actually stuff that you want if you have an archer. With crossbows, I would say kind of the same. Like, because a lot of the time you don't have spare ammunition for a crossbow, because I basically never built dedicated crossbowmen. I have crossbow polearms, so I have hybrids, and they have other weapons in their backpack. Basically almost never spare ammo. So just having 14 bolts for the really long fights can be a savior, but it's not necessary. Not necessary, but it's kind of nice to have it, and can make the difference between not having enough ammo and having enough ammo. So I rather have this than not having this. If I have a crossbow polearm guy, I want this. If I have an archer, I want this for sure. That's what I'm looking after. Same with the gunner. By the way, you make this out of Unholdheit, and the gun pouch you make out of serpent skin and the hyena fur. If I have a gunner, I would probably want that stuff too. Just additional ammunition for my range pros. They tend to chew through ammo fairly quickly, and this is not too hard to get, right? This is like just the pelts from certain stuff. You will have that at some point. Yeah. All right, next one. Acid flask. Acid flask. So this stuff is hard to get because you have to make this from the acid from the lindworms, and lindworms are hard to fight. I tend to avoid these fights if I can, because it's really, most of the time it's not worth it. You lose a lot of armor, but basically always somebody's getting injured. So unless you have a very specific tactic to beat them, or you have the specific company and specific weapons, like you have nice polearms to just kite them, you know, and hit them and stuff, then it's maybe worth doing, but I tend to avoid lindworm fights. So also, like, reducing the target's armor by -20 for each turn for 3 turns is kind of nice, but you rather would like to kill that guy within 3 turns. So this might help you against really heavy armored opponents like the Frost Unhold. So if you have that, it's nice to have, but I would say it's first and foremost hard to get and not worth it. By the way, where do I have the acid from the lindworms? I think it's this one. Is it though? Acid flask. Yeah, it is this one. I'm sorry. Hard to get, not really worth it. Next one, the antidote. Removes the poison status effect, grants immunity to poison for 3 turns. This is easy to get, you just need the Nachtzehrer teas. But honestly, it's not really worth it. Poison is not the problem in the game. I think only goblins have that, and spiders. So unless you are fighting spiders or goblins, it's really not worth having this. So I don't know. is easy to get. You kind of want to use the teas to get yourself some Nachtseher trophies, so well. Next one, Firepot. The Firepot, you throw a firebomb. You need, therefore, the tools from the Nachtseers and the stuff from the Ifrits, the rocks. The Firepot is, in my opinion, not really worth it. You have to fight Ifrits, which are a little bit, it's not hard, but it's a same big beast fights, they're kind of annoying. Don't really want to fight them. And the damage is not that high. It's nice if you have no other option, basically. If you don't have high tier weapons, it can be nice, but most of the time, it's not too easy to get and it's not really worth using it most of the time. Next one, Flashbot. Same thing, you have to fight snakes and you have to fight Alps together. So two complete different opponents in different areas for a Flashbot that gives the Daze effect for 2 turns. Dazes is nice, but this does not do too much. It's hard to get. Almost never craft stuff like that. So I would say it's hard to get. Again, if you just have the components and you just can build it whatever like, but this is something rarely I have these components together. So the next one, the Poisoned Oil. The next 4 attacks will apply the poison status effect for 10 damage per turn. So this is really easy to get because you get that from spiders. Spiders are the easiest beast fights. And this can be nice if you deal with tough opponents early on. So if you have mostly, I would say it's something for an archer or something for a crossbowman, and you just shoot at the brigand leader or a chosen maybe or something like that. So they take extra damage. It's kind of extra damage without risk, I would say. And can be, because it's basically free, I would say this is free to get. Same with the reinforced net. It reduced the break free by -15, which is actually fairly big. It makes your nets tend to last longer in fights. And again, the spider thingy is the easiest fight. Spiders are really easy. I would say it's easy to get and has uses early on where you want to use nets to net down scary opponents a lot. You tend to not do that in the late game. Next one, Smoke Pot. Alright, Smoke Pot. Cover 7 tiles in smoke for 1 round, allowing anyone inside the free move freely without a zone of control. So this lets you ignore zone of control, and you just need the hyenas and the brain from the Nachtseers. So 2 things that are fairly easy to get from the small beast. And this one can save bros. I would say this is stuff that you want, because this can save a bro that is in danger. You can just throw a smoke pot and he can move out of zone of control without triggering the zone of control attack that would apply normally if zone of control would apply. So this can save bro's life. Is fairly easy to get to from low stuff that you at some point will have in your inventory if you don't craft it anything else with it. So from the throwable stuff, I would say this is probably the most useful one, maybe with the reinforced nets together. So the next one, Apothecarius Miracle. This is something that gets done from Unholz and Hexen. So fairly rare fight Hexen, and is a fairly rare loot to treat a temporary injury. I think this is kind of nice. I also think you can buy that. It's expensive though. This treats temporary injuries. This is really nice to have, but honestly, it's kind of a late game backpack thing, I would say. If you just have it, use it. If not, who cares? But like, this is really, really nice. If you have a bro that is wounded and you need him for that one fight, you can just give him the pills and he's fine. He has a maimed foot or something, then he doesn't anymore and he can fully fight. It's kind of nice to have this stuff handy, but it's not necessary by any means. It's hard to get naturally. Can be bought though. We have the Cat Potion. That's plus 20 initiative for 1 battle. Okay, I would say you need Adrenaline Gland from the Direwolves and the Alp Skin. So this is like medium hard to get. Like, it's not too hard to get. but it gives you plus 20 initiative for one battle. This is only important for something like a Fancer if you want to do crazy stuff with that, like Solo Goblin City or something. I would say it is kind of not worth getting otherwise, unless you have a very specific use for that. If you have initiative builds that really want plus 20 initiative that fight like a Fancer, maybe a Dagger Duelist. Outside of that, I wouldn't say it's necessary. Actually, I would say it's probably just for that Fancer, or if you want to do some crazy stuff with a single bro. Yeah, I don't know. Almost never build this or use it as something I do not look for. The Happy Powder. The Happy Powder is really nice if you can get it. And I would actually say this is something that you might want to have handy, especially if you want to do something like the legendary locations, something like Black Monolith, and some of your bros is kind of unhappy because he didn't fought a while or he got injured or something, and he has bad mood. You don't want to go into big fights with bad mood on your bros. That's not something you want to do. So having a Happy Powder handy for the bros who have bad moods also can save your butts if you play something like how are they called? The cultists. If you play the Dafgul cultist and your bros gets unhappy when somebody gets sacrificed, this is really handy for that. So I would say this is actually, it's fairly hard to get, but I would say this is stuff that you want for late game. You have to fight Necrosavants and Alps for that. Next one, Iron Will Potion. Not affected by non-permanent injuries for the duration of one battle. So this is easy to get, like this is really easy to craft. Fairly easy to craft, and this is something that can be handy if it's handy. Like if you have an injured bro and you need to fight a battle, you can just give him that and he's not affected by the current injuries. So that's really nice. Again, like something like a main foot does not apply for him. Okay, the next one, plus 20 resolve for one battle, the Lionheart Potion. This stuff can be commonly bought at by the way, I think almost all of that can be bought. This is all viable, I think. And at the Alchemist, for instance, or at some shops in towns. The Lionheart Potion gives you plus 20 resolve from a run battle. This can be nice on tanks and stuff. It's not too hard to make. It's from Nachtzerer Spiders and an Alp skin. I would actually say this is kind of fairly easy to make, and at the same time this can have positive uses in specific battles. So, especially in harder battles where you want to have a bannerman with additional resolve for the whole team, or you want to have a tank or a flank guy with more resolve because he's doing something crazy. You know, just boost him with plus 20 resolve for one battle. It's gonna fix him. Also fix somebody who is maybe terrified and has low resolve, can help a little bit with that, just a little bit, but can help with low resolve pros for hard fights. Okay, next one, the Night Owl Elixir. The Night Owl Elixir is something I basically never build, never buy, never miss. It removes the nighttime effect, means your archers have the full sight and they have the full range skill and range defense at night. But you have to fight Alps and Hexen for that. And this one only applies if you want to have an arch, if you want to snipe something at night with your archer. So this is super rare, a super rare case, and it's hard to get because of the rare loot. So I would put it not worth getting. It's hard to get, and most of the time not worth for your company if you don't have a lot of range pros, or you just wait until daytime. But it has specific use cases and can be good in that. Next one, Potion of Knowledge, plus 100% experience gain for 3 battles. You have to fight Hexen, Alps, and Shrats. So, Heart of the Forest. So this is really hard to obtain by looting these guys, because you have to fight 3 rare opponents and get rare loot from them. Because not every Shrat fight will drop a Heart of the Forest. Like, this is also, I have to say, like, not every Hexen fight will drop a Witch Hair or Shrat of the Heart of the Forest. There's always a drop chance. So most of the time you have to fight multiple opponents in order to get these, multiple Shrats in order to get one of these or one of that. So But anyways, you can buy these ones. And especially early on, or even late game, if you want to boost up one bro specifically, this is really nice. And so I would say this is something you look to buy either early on in your run, if you have the money to boost up your lone wolf, or just later on if you want to level up your god bros that you just freshly recruited faster. That's really cool stuff. Next one, Potion of Oblivion. That resets all perk points. This is really useful, but you have to fight the Kraken for that, and you have to have all of that. So this is, and costs you 5,000 crowns, by the way. So this is the, I would say, hardest to get, and it's not even close. So this is easily hard to get. Is it worth it? Kind of. It can be worth it if you have a bro that you just misskilled. That happens once in a while, so you just want to reset all perk points. Also, you can have gifted 2 times because the stats stay, but the gifted gets released. So this can be nice if you want to reset your lone wolf and give him other perks, so you can solo, I don't know, the Black Monolith or something. If you want to do something cheesy with the team, you can do that. But it's the hardest one to get, and it's kind of a meme, right? But you kind of do that if you have a very specific plan and you have nothing better to do. So it's hard to get, but can be funny. Next one, Second Wind Potion. +4 fatigue recovery for 1 battle. This is extremely strong. This is better than the Iron Lung straight. Also, that can be bought. It's not too hard to get because Direwolves fairly common, and the Hex and stuff. I mean, yeah, it's the Hex, right? But there's stuff that is harder to get, and this is one of the strongest potion by far. Like, you can just make a brother in an absolute beast with the Second Wind Potion. Gives you more fatigue, and fatigue is damage. So you can get your damage dealer and make him a giga damage dealer, or you can give your tank that and he will permanently shield wall or indom for ages. So this can be really, really nice for your bros. That's stuff you look out for, and that's also stuff that you can buy. Yeah, and the next one is the black paint. You get that from the Alps. Petrified Scream. Yeah, I think that's an Alpet. The black paint. Who cares, right? But I mean, hey, it's black paint. It's kind of cool. Next one, Unhold. For orange and red paint, you need to Unhold hard. Damn it, I closed the wiki. I'm sorry. Oopsie. Again, to Unhold hard. Actually, I've closed the tier list. I'm even stupider. Even more stupid. 1 second, guys. Hang on. We are back. I'm so sorry. Where was I? The red and orange paint, you need an Unhold hard for that. Nah, who cares? I mean, all the paint stuff is kind of, who cares? Like the red paint from the apple, who cares? It's hard to get, right? You would rather craft something else. And the white and blue paint is easy to get. I give credit where credit is due. It's easy to get. Easy to get this color from. Same with the white, green, and yellow paint. It's also easy to get. The paint set. It's a little bit harder to get. It's a little bit harder to craft because you have to have the black one and this one and this one. But you can buy that. This is for painting shield. So if you want to paint your shields in your company color, I mean, you can buy that stuff. So why not? If you want to remove paints, you can just make that with the Nasterazon. Easy to get right there. If you want to remove paint. If you want to remove the yellow paint, the blue-yellow paint that nobody likes, you can just remove it. Last one is the fermented Unhold hard. This is really hard to make and not worth it. It's basically you make a ration, some food with that lasts 20 days. who cares? This is only if you have nothing better to do and you have a bottle of wine and an Unhold and who cares? I just make that. I need inventory space and I need food. I go outside in the wilderness, so who cares, right? Next one. The next thing is kind of like if you have the alchemist in your team, you can make snake oil from all of these craftable materials, and you get money for snake oils. Snake oils can be sold for 650 crowns. And yeah, I don't know. It's a retinue that I never buy. But if you want to really, you want to role play and you lean into the beast slayers and you go beast hunting, you might as well buy the alchemist and make some snake oils. Then there are 3 event stuff that I didn't put in a tier list. It's the wonky bow and the masterwork bow. You get this from a bowyer, and the bowyer event is a hard event. I think I never had this actually. And the masterwork bow gives you +5 hit chance. It's super nice. And the wonky bow is obviously trash. And if you have a monk in your team, you can have a flask of blessed water. Also, you get that from the Sunken Temple, I think. It's a legendary location. You can get that. And this is nice against undead. I used that in Black Monolith for my offhand bros. And it does 20 damage for 3 turns to any undead target. So this is really strong against ancient undead because this kind of almost kills ancient undead. And also it has a chance to spill, so it does damage to multiple ancient undead and can kill something like honor guards or legendaries fairly quickly, or you can hardly damage them, so they're all one shot and they die quicker. Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of my tier list. I'm gonna put the link down in the description. And guys, if you want to see me play Battle Bros, I stream nowadays. Also, I have a lot of other videos about Battle Bros, about builds, about the weapons, about stuff that I do, and early game help for newer players. And yeah, I'm gonna see you in my videos, in my live stream, in the comments, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a nice day, guys. Bye-bye.